Alright, let's dive into a story that's got politics, drama, and a whole lot of intrigue, all centered around a box of evidence and a very public disagreement. Here's the deal. Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. Attorney for D.C. and a known Trump ally, showed up at the White House with a box full of evidence to prove that the damage to the reflecting pool wasn't caused by vandals, but by shoddy construction. Sounds straightforward, right? But personally, I think this story is way more layered than it seems at first glance. What makes this really interesting is the timing and the stakes. Pirro's move came just hours after President Trump publicly called her out for dropping charges against Olympic canoeist David Hearn, who was accused of vandalizing the pool. Trump accused her of folding like an umbrella, which, let's be honest, is a pretty harsh burn. But here's where it gets juicy. Pirro didn't just take the criticism lying down. She marched into the Oval Office with evidence to prove her point. From my perspective, this isn't just about the reflecting pool. It's about Pirro trying to salvage her reputation and maybe even her relationship with Trump. Now, let's talk about the evidence itself. Pirro's office claims the Interior Department held back critical information until after the indictment, which led to the charges being dropped. This raises a deeper question. Why would the Interior Department withhold evidence? And what does this say about the broader dynamics between federal agencies and the White House? One thing that immediately stands out is how this situation reflects the ongoing tension between Trump's administration and the bureaucracy. It's almost like a game of chess, with each side trying to outmaneuver the other. What many people don't realize is that this isn't Pirro's first high-profile setback. Earlier this year, a grand jury unanimously refused to indict 6 Democratic lawmakers, something that's incredibly rare. Then, a judge quashed subpoenas issued by her office to investigate former Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, calling it a pretext to pressure him. If you take a step back and think about it, Pirro's office seems to be struggling to deliver on cases that are personally important to Trump. This pattern suggests a bigger issue. Is Pirro's office overreaching, or is she just not getting the support she needs? A detail I find fascinating is the role of the reflecting pool itself. It's not just a landmark, it's a symbol. Trump and Interior Secretary Doug Burgum were quick to blame vandals, framing it as an attack on national heritage. But if the damage was caused by poor construction, it shifts the narrative entirely. What this really suggests is that sometimes, the story we're told isn't the whole story. And in politics, that's almost always the case. Personally, I think this situation is a microcosm of the larger challenges facing Trump's allies. They're under constant scrutiny, and every move they make is analyzed to death. Pirro's decision to bring the evidence directly to Trump feels like a last-ditch effort to prove her loyalty. But here's the thing. In politics, loyalty is a two-way street. And right now, it's not clear if Trump sees it that way. So what's the takeaway here? For me, it's this. Politics is messy, and the truth is rarely as simple as it seems. Pirro's box of evidence might clear up the reflecting pool mystery, but it also opens up a whole new set of questions. What does this mean for her future? For Trump's administration? And more importantly, how will this play out in the court of public opinion? Those are questions I'll be keeping an eye on. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below.